of this volume, the last two suttas, chapter 11 on page 178, and it will start with chapter 12 also. The titles are written on the whiteboard. The first sutta here is called Brahma Mahā Koṭṭhita Sutta. The original title is Mahā Koṭṭhita, named after a very famous monk. This monk is well known for his what's called the four analytic skills. He's good in understanding the nature of the Dharma, the purpose of the Dharma, or another interpretation is the nature of conditions, the nature of what you call meaning of words, things like that. And then he has got this ready wit. He's able to talk the Dharma in a very interesting way, and he's good in languages. So this Mahā Koṭṭhita has got a special quality. He's of course one of the famous 80 great elders, the immediate disciples of the Buddha. The title Mahā Koṭṭhita, of course, is not unique. So, one of the things that we often, if we have a deep into the Dharma, the Dharma meditation, we like to know where the teachings come from, how to follow up on practice. We want the authentic teachings, we want what the Buddha say. How do we meditate? You can't get all this in public talk. Because public talks are general talks that are meant to attract beginners. So we have to go deeper. So this is where meditation is very important. So sutta studies like this is a follow-up to meditation, or it's a very good way of introducing meditation also, depending on where your situation is. For example, when you meditate, you find, okay, there are certain states arising in you. Maybe you get very deep peace, or maybe you have some meditation problems, you don't know what to do. So we like to find out the answer to all these things. So you can find them in the suttas. Of course, the suttas are not easy reading by themselves. For one reason is because they are very specialized texts. Specialized meaning they are you can safely say all the suttas that are called early Buddhism. We're not talking about later teachings. Early Buddhism, that means these records go back to the Buddha himself. Talk about meditation. Sooner or later, we'll talk about peace of mind. And then, what's peace of mind for? To clear the mind. Why clear the mind? So that the mind is free from negative states, from suffering, ultimately awakening, become like the Buddha himself, right? So in other words, the purpose of the sutta is to know our mind, tame our mind, free our mind. That's the purpose of the suttas. Now, I'm not saying they are easy suttas. All my life I've been studying suttas for the last 50 or 40 years, and I've spent around 12 years translating all this. So you see this volume in front of you, and they're very interesting to me. In fact, I've been saying it so many times. The point is, almost every day for the last 12 years, I've been translating suttas. If something is not interesting, then there must be a robot, right? So in other words, they are interesting. That's what keeps us going. Okay, we love this thing, right? But the other thing is to love the Dharma. Love is a very positive emotion. Okay? So when you want to meditate, you must have love also. Because another word for love is loving kindness. Another word for loving kindness is joy. Right? So they're all connected. So these are little things we learn, which are very effective to have in our meditation. Number two, it gives us the vocabulary to talk about meditation, to inspire others also to meditate. Because if we meditate alone, we know meditation or the Dharma, then you won't really be peaceful because people around us are suffering, they're not happy. So we also try to encourage them to study the Dharma found in the suttas. Okay? So the sutta, in other words, is the authentic record we have, or the most authentic record we have of the Buddha's teaching. For example, if you ask yourself this question, where can I get the most ancient, accurate teaching closest to the Buddha's time, and if possible taught by the Buddha himself? Where do I get this? Definitely the Pali Suttas, right? Don't take my word for it, because when you meditate and you look at the sutta, you'll find they're interconnected. So your meditation will help you understand the sutta better. So it goes back and forth like that. The suttas help you to understand your meditation. As you improve the meditation, you begin to understand the suttas better. It goes back and forth like that. So if you just read the sutta by itself, for itself, it's not going to be very helpful. But if you read it for the sake of clearing your mind, mental peace, it's going to be very useful for you. One more thing we need to understand in nature of sutta, a good comparison is they are like computer programs. Meaning, they have certain parts which are repetitive, just like in the computer program, some parts are repetitive. Certain, what's what called is instruction. Right? So it's got to go through the loop, right? So the sutta also got repetition because some things we need to hear again and again. You know how many Dhamma talks I've heard? As a Buddhist, I've heard thousands, but despite the thousands of talks I heard, I'm still not enlightened. Right? So in other words, you can attend all the Dhamma talks and you won't be enlightened. The Dhamma talks inspire us to make more effort. Right? Then, when you make that effort, you find, oh yeah, now I'm more peaceful. And you compare yourself to many years ago, you find now you're more peaceful. And you practice more, and it goes on like that. The peacefulness deepens. Your understanding of life deepens. And studying sutta, practicing meditation is a lifelong practice. And the older you grow, the more useful, the clearer it becomes. It's like life insurance. This is the real life insurance. Yeah? You insure your life that you will have a happy life, happy passing on, happy rebirth. Okay? So the suttas repeat themselves because we need to remember certain points. Remember is one thing, realizing it is another thing. For example, we know, oh, everything is impermanent, We think we know. I realized something very interesting after studying the sutta. When we say we know something, we are talking about something in the past. In a sense, all knowledge is about the past. All that we can know is about the past. Something happened, we say, I know it, right? If I say, I know it, that means something in the past. Not in the present, alright? Yeah, of course you can say, I know how to do this, yeah, it really is a present thing, but it's a different sentence structure. So in meditation we talk about present moment awareness. This is not called knowledge, it's called wisdom. It's called vision, because you see directly. In fact, in Buddhism, the early suttas take a lot of trouble. They go to great length to distinguish different kinds of knowledge. So in meditation, we don't use the word knowledge. We use the word direct knowledge. You see directly into reality, into yourself. So when you meditate, you see directly into the present moment. What do you see? Impermanence. You see things moving, changing, becoming other. And then when you come out of your meditation, you look around and say, wow, yes, I can see all these things going on around me. And this is a very wonderful experience. In other words, you no more are troubled by the world. When you see people change, you see it's not always you can get what you want. You see, it's okay, it's nature of life. You don't get frantic, upset. And when you hear people quarreling, shouting, fighting each other, you tell yourself, it's a very pity, these people, they don't know the truth of life. You don't need to quarrel. You don't need to hate each other. All you need is to know each other better. So this wisdom helps you to understand life. And then later when you have a chance to talk to them, you tell them, hey, you can be happy. You don't have to fight and quarrel and do all these silly things. Then you find this circle of people close to you become happier. So this is a very wonderful way of learning the suttas. Direct experience of reality. Right? Why the suttas like a computer program? You've got to make sure the program runs completely. You cannot remove one sentence or even one letter, it won't work properly. So the sutta also like that. You should read through the whole thing. And thereafter, you can decide what part you like, then you go on from there. The sutta should be read on its own, understand it, and then you build up your wisdom from there. If the sutta is difficult, don't worry. Just look at the part you understand. There are other suttas which are very simple. So don't judge one sutta, use one sutta and judge the rest as being difficult. There's always something you will like. Sooner or later, explore the suttas. After all, we have this document 2,500 years old, still handed down to us intact. And the least we can do is look at the suttas and see what they can tell us. The suttas are like, what should I say? They're more instruction manual. That's another way you can look at it, like a driver's manual. I often like to compare meditation to driving. Sometimes people like to ask, is meditation dangerous or not? My favorite answer is, driving is more dangerous than meditation. Why? Because if you don't have a coach, you've never driven before, you don't have a coach, it's very dangerous to drive. You need a coach, you need a, instructor, driving instructor. See? So he will tell you what to do, he's there with you for a while. In meditation also like that. Then you look at the highway code, then you know what to do on your own. Sooner or later you have to be on your own. Then you can drive. Okay? So in meditation also is like that. You got the manual, you got the code, right? The code is a sutta, and then you practice. So this is a little overview of the purpose of the sutta, right? The sutta is not for study, to get MA, PhD, and to give nice talks. It's much, much more than that. The sutta is meant for our personal study, for our personal practice, for personal understanding, for personal liberation. Then we are effectively ready to help others also. Okay? So now you can look at the Mahā Koṭṭhita Sutta. Now you see there's a prefix there, cariya. I put in the prefix so that we know what we're talking about. You hear the monk tells you, or teacher, a talk tell you, in this sutta the Buddha said that. And the Buddha said something, you want to know, you want to read the whole sutta, you don't know where to locate it. And sometimes you ask the monk, he will say, oh, somewhere in the Tipitaka. So, wow. You have a problem looking for that. You know, you have a book which is 11 times the size of the Bible. So I often get that kind of request, by the way. That's my specialty. Whenever they can't get it, they will email me, they say, can you tell me where the sutta is from? And I welcome such questions because I also want to know where these things come from. So I told myself, it's a good question, but these people must also learn how to locate the sutta. See, because the Buddhist Tipitaka is huge, you know. So it's not easy to remember the sutta. So there are two ways you can remember sutta. One is by the name. Like here you say Brahmacharya, Mahā Koṭṭhita Sutta. Now if you say Mahā Koṭṭhita, there are 2 or 3 of them. And I'll say which one. So here we have the prefix Brahmacharya, so it makes it more, should I say, less ambiguous, more specific. No? Another way is to remember the number. Just below the title you see A9.13. That's the sutta reference. A is Anguttara Nikaya, the 4th Nikaya. No? And also below the title you have the translation, the discourse with Mahā Koṭṭhita on the holy life. So I use the word with here because it's a dialogue between Sāriputta and Mahā Koṭṭhita. Right? And Brahmacharya means holy life. Brahmacharya is a special term meaning a celibate holy life. A monastic holy life. In other words, this kind of holy life, or this kind of practicing the Dharma, it involves some level of renunciation, right? Of course, for monks, they follow all the monks' rules, but lay people also can practice this by following what's called the rule of celibacy. It's the 3rd rule of the 8 precepts, or 10 precepts. In other words, no family life, and no involvement with sex, any kind of sexual pleasure. Because not that these things are bad, because there are lay people who enjoy this sensual pleasure, have families, businesses, but they're also practitioners, and they can become awakened also, become saints also. Right? But here we want the quick way, faster. Right? So they decide to dedicate their minds, focus their mind on meditation. So this is Brahmacharya, the celibate holy life. More generally, the people like you and I, if we are serious in our practice, the term we use is Dhammacharya, is the wipeout kind, Dhammacharya. So Dhammacharya, we can say, is the Dhamma life, Dhamma-based life. Okay? And so the practitioner, in the case of Brahmacharya, is called Brahmachari. In the case of Dhammacharya, the practitioner is called Dhammachari. Right? So someone who really keeps the precepts, very mindful, called Dhammachari. And there's a beautiful verse in the Dhammapada which says, Dhammachari Sukhang Seti. Now, if you translate literally, Dhammachari Sukhang seti. Dharmacharya, of course, being the Dharma practitioner, sukham, happily or at ease. Seti can mean sleep, can mean rest, can mean lie down. But here we can translate as the Dharmachari lives happily, also can. Right? So here is when we translate suttas, you have two ways of translating. One is a literal word translation, which is useful to explain the meaning, but more usefully is what is called the idiomatic translation. In other words, we bring out the full meaning of the word. Right? So in a sense, translation is not simple. You need to know two languages. In this case, I need to know English, I need to know Pali, not just the language. You must also know how to express language beautifully. Right? So in other words, when we do meditation, we experience two very important things. Two most important things in human life, if you like. They are called truth and beauty. Truth and beauty. When you meditate, you learn to understand the truth better. Okay? For example, Four Noble Truths. Right? And when you understand the truth better, you feel happy. Even when you meditate, you feel peaceful. Right? That's the beauty part. So you have two, truth, beauty. I've used these modern terms because a lot of people can relate to it. If you want to use traditional terms, you can use terms like calm and insight, samatha, vipassana. Okay? Samatha is calmness. When you're calm, you feel happy. You see things are beautiful. That's the beauty aspect of meditation. Vipassana is insight. You see directly into the true nature of things. You see the truth. Right? So truth, beauty is all there. So people will say, oh, Buddhism, suttas are out of date and so on. They don't think like this. But if you think like this, you say, wow, you can actually, and when you understand the sutta, you also understand life. You can create beautiful things. Because sometimes I write poems, I write stories, and I also have books on inspiration, right? So you find the suttas can make us happy. That is practicing the Dharma, right? Now this sutta is a very short, simple sutta, where you have two great arahats, Sāriputta and Mahā Koṭṭhita. They were like sitting with each other and discussing Dharma. In fact, a very specific idea here. They are talking about the purpose of practicing the Dharma, or if you like, the purpose of being a Buddhist. Here, the question is asked, what is the purpose of practicing the Dharma? So let's look at the sutta now, page 179. Or to be more specific, the purpose of the holy life, if you like. Look at 1.1. Then the Venerable Mahā Koṭṭhita approached the Venerable Sāriputta and exchanged greetings with him. After this courteous and friendly exchange was concluded, the Venerable Mahā Koṭṭhita sat down at one side. Sitting thus at one side, the Venerable Mahā Koṭṭhita said this to the Venerable Sāriputta. Now, Avuso Sāriputta, okay, Avuso is simply a polite address between equals, like my old friend, something like that, yeah? Now, Avuso Sāriputta, is the holy life live under the Blessed One for this purpose? May an action that is felt here and now turn into an action that is to be felt by me in a future life? No, Avuso. Okay, now, look at this first paragraph. We have to really understand what's going on here so that the rest become clear. Number one, who are talking here? Sāriputta and Mahā Koṭṭhita. The questioner is Mahā Koṭṭhita. Usually the junior monk, the younger person will ask the question, will ask the senior the question. Of course it can be the other way around too. Here, it is out of respect to Sāriputta, Mahā Koṭṭhita is asking the question. In other words, is this right? So he wants confirmation. Right? And notice the question is the holy life live under the Blessed One for this purpose? May my present karma also be enjoyed in the future life? Is that what it's about? Mahā Koṭṭhita asked. Sāriputta says no, right? Obviously, some people have this wrong idea. For example, they feel, oh, now I am rich, I'm happy, so I want this thing to happen again in the future, right? So I come to Buddhism for it. But that's not what Buddhism is about. Okay? What does this mean? I mean, even if you have good karma in the future, you are still stuck in samsara, you see. So what the Buddha is teaching here is that why settle for bronze or silver when you can get gold? You know? So in other words, get the best. In this case, you can get the best. Otherwise, you're stuck in samsara because it's just like, okay, in Buddhism we say do a lot of meritorious work, which is fine, better than evil stuff. But if you do meritorious work, you're also told, okay, do meritorious work, you do good things now, you're reborn happy and rich and handsome and wise in the future. But as long as you are reborn, the chances are there will be suffering. So doing merits alone is good but not enough. So what is doing more than meritorious deed? Meditation. Meditation, see? So you have a teaching about what dana, sila, bhavana. Dana is charity, giving, which is good work, which is meritorious work. And then you have meditation, right? And then dana, keeping precepts, and then meditation. So here, what the Buddha is telling us is, if you do charitable work, it's good because you create this happy environment around you. Then you should use this happy environment to do something even better. Learn to calm your mind. So this, in another very important sutta, on giving, on dana, the Buddha says, when you give something, don't ask for all these worldly blessings. Right? Like some people, they may give donation, and they say, here you put $10 in the donation box, may I get $100,000, $1 million, like lottery. You donate, and you give you one more. That's called bribery, by the way. So we don't do that, right? In other words, when we give something, we don't ask for something measurable in return, but we ask for something better. So what is it, the Buddha says? In fact, the sutta, there are various lists of what you can ask for. The Buddha says these are not really useful because they're all impermanent, they are worldly, they are not really, they don't bring true happiness. The best thing you can ask for when you do charitable work, when you do something good is, by this giving, may it beautify my mind, may it make me peaceful, that my mind will see calm and wisdom. That's the best wish you can have. Or in simple terms, we say you should be wishing for happiness. Not wishing for $1 million. $1 million is not much. You know, there was this today newspaper, this lady, she lost her husband, and then she got $1 million, and then she got this conniving relation or somebody. She lost all her money. Can you imagine that? So I said, my goodness, $1 million, you know, I can do a lot with that. We live a very simple life. You can live a whole lifetime with that kind of money. But this person lost it in just a few years.
1 year.
1 year. No? So what I'm saying is not much, you know. Whatever is countable, not much. Whether we direct our mind to something that money can bring us, go direct to the goal, happiness. If you have happiness, then you are less dependent on money. I'm not saying we don't need money in this kind of society. Yes, we do need money. But what I'm saying is, don't confuse the need with the wants. And so this right way of thinking, by this giving, may my mind be at peace. No matter what happens, I'll be at peace with myself. I'll be healthy, I'll be wise, I'll be calm. Then no matter what happens to us, we have this mindfulness and wisdom to go on working. Right? So that's the blessing we ask for afterwards. So not we just say, oh, may this karma continue in the future, right? After that we get bored, we think of something else. Then the second question, Nada Navuso, is the holy life live under the Blessed One for this purpose? May an action that is to be felt in the future into an action that is felt by me here and now? No Avuso. So Sāriputta said, no, that's not the purpose of the holy life, right? Something in the future, maybe, you know, let's say you study for an exam and then the results going to come. Say, oh, may I have the results right now without studying? You know, it's not a wise thing to do. Number 3, now then I also, is the holy life live under the Blessed One for this purpose? May an action that is felt as pleasurable turn into an action that is felt by me as painful. Because here is a silly request, isn't it? Something good, we want it to feel it as painful. Maybe here the idea is to annoy somebody or bring pain. So again, you cannot turn something happy as it is into something unhappy. Okay. In other words, we know people and our friends, especially people who are close and dear to us. There are happy moments, there are sad moments. The moments that make us love this person, moments that make us angry with this person. When we are unhappy with these people, with this person, it doesn't mean that good things are lessened. Even in our mind, we might think they are lessened, but the reality is there. Because if you think of the goodness in the person, it is still goodness. Of course, assuming the person really did this good things. So this is where it's better to remember the good things than the bad things. Okay? So this is the meaning here. And then the number 4 is the other way around. If something is painful now, I want it to be pleasurable. Is it? This is the aim of the Buddhist life? No. Sāriputta says no. Okay? Next one. May an action that is felt when fully ripened turn into action that is felt by me when not fully ripened. Right? See, some karma, they will ripen at the right time. Some may not ripen. Right? Maybe you might not get exactly what you want. So can we make it happen that way? And then number 6 is something not fully ripened, we want it to fully ripen, we want to enjoy. In other words, we want to manipulate karma. Okay? Next one, number 7, may an action, I'm reading the sentence that is in question. Right? May an action that is felt much turn into an action that is felt by me as little. Some karma you can feel it lasts a long time, seems to last a long time, some last a very short time. So can I make something which is felt a little bit only a short time, I want it to be expanded, maybe something good, I want it to last longer. Or next one is something which is little, something much become little, like suffering become less, or something good become more. No, it's not. This is not what Buddhism is about. And then number 9, may an action that is felt turn into an action not felt. Right? In other words, I don't have to experience this karma at all, or something which I cannot experience, I want to experience it. So these are 10 different ways of looking at karma, basically. So what Mahā Koṭṭhita and Sāriputta are talking or teaching us is that the purpose of Buddhism is not really to change our karma. Right? It is to transcend karma altogether. In other words, like when you meditate, when you are meditating, karma does not work on you temporarily, so to speak. You know why? You've got to understand how karma works. Karma works through the mind that is positive or negative. Okay? It works through body, speech, and mind. Okay? Now, body and speech, the 5 senses, they all shut down in meditation. If you do your meditation very well, the 5 senses are at rest, at peace. So there is no chance for us to create any negative action through seeing, hearing, smelling, tasting, touching. You are left with the mind. And again, the mind does not involve in thinking, because thinking creates karma, good and bad. In meditation, if you do your meditation well, you stop thinking, you start feeling. Feeling means direct experience of the object in front of you. That's reality. Why is meditation effective? Because you experience reality. In breath meditation, the reality is the breath. The breath comes in, goes out, comes in, goes out. You watch the breath. It is happening right now. You are watching it right now. That's reality. When that happens, you are at peace with yourself. And when you are at peace with yourself, in a sense, you are beyond karma. Of course, it's good karma, yes, but it's not the ordinary kind of karma we have in daily life. So this kind of karma, you build up, you will free yourself from other kind of karma, negative karma. So this is a very interesting way of saying the purpose of Buddhism is a radical cure, not symptomatic cure. We have a common cold, headache, we go and see a doctor, a GP, The GP says, oh, okay, you have a headache, okay, I'll give you this Panadol. You have fever, I give you Dharma or whatever, something else, or they give you the same medicine anyway. So you go home, you take it, but still got headache, still got this pain, and you go again, and then doctor say, well, third time you go there and say, I think this one you got to see a specialist. Something wrong, right? Which the symptoms alone you can cure them, but it keeps coming back. So see a specialist. So the specialist start checking you. What does a specialist do? What's the difference between a specialist and a GP? The specialist goes down to the roots of the problem, the radical examination, and try to give you a radical cure. GP only look at the symptoms. At least once his doctor has told me, I'm treating you symptomatically. At that time, I said, what are you talking about? Then later I look at the sutta, I say, okay, that's what he meant. He's only treating the signs of the sickness, okay? If it's not serious, okay, no problem. But if it goes on repeating, the symptoms persist, you've got to see a specialist. So Buddhism is like that. Buddhism teaches us the radical cure. That is why in Buddhism, we don't encourage you to go for, you've got a marriage problem, social problem, can't get a job, you go for blessing. The monk sprinkle water on you, and then you think, you got a job, say, wow, I got a job, this monk is very powerful, But you are one out of 1,000 who say, good, the 999 keep quiet, is it? So another 1,000 come, one more say, wow, this monk is very powerful. So this 1, 2, 3 people start saying that, that's all you hear, you think the monk is very powerful, you don't hear the other, the number, the 2,000 minus 2. So these people, they don't say it, you see? So that's how it seems to work. But the radical cure is, Buddha says, I'm paraphrasing what the Buddha says. If you want to pass exams, you don't pray. You live a life in such a way that you will pass the exam. In other words, you go to study. You want to be beautiful, you don't pray. You live a life that makes you beautiful. You want to go to heaven, you don't pray. You live a life which is conducive to that kind of goal. In other words, whatever you want to be, you work for it. That's how you get it. Not by just praying. You won't get it. Yeah. But Buddhism is not against prayer either, because there is something called loving kindness. It's not exactly prayer, but it is a very positive way of building up our mind to deal with problems. But the purpose of meditation is to go to the roots of the problem. Meaning, we change our way of looking at things. We remove certain negative conditions. That's the root solution. That's the difference. Meditation goes down, deep into the mind, and you try to sort out the problem on the deep mental level. And this is where you come to Buddhist counseling, which is much more effective than clinical counseling. If properly done, even today you find this clinical counseling they're using Buddhist mindfulness methods. You have a problem, you go to a counselor listens to you, and then maybe, after that, help you out. But if you do Buddhist counseling, you find you can sort things out deep inside you by learning meditation, looking at how you think, how you feel, and then you solve the problem on a deep mental level or radical level, in other words. So this is a very useful way of understanding Buddhism. Then, after that, the rose switches around. Sāriputta is the one talking. Sāriputta repeats everything. He says, yes, we practice the Buddha Dharma, not all those things. Now, this repetition here is for the purpose the audience will listen. Because to a couple hundred years after the Buddha's time, nothing was written down, you see. So everything is heard. In other words, everything is spoken. So it's important for them to hear, repeat, so that they remember the teachings. Right? Then finally the sutta closes. Mahā Koṭṭhita asks, how then does one live the purpose of the holy life under the Blessed One? What is the purpose of practicing the Dharma? This is 2.2. And then the answer is very simple. 3.1, the holy life also is lived under the Blessed One for the sake of knowing, seeing, attaining, realizing, penetrating into the unknown, unseen, unattained, unrealized, unpenetrated. Alright, here you are. First of all, notice there are 5 words for knowing. Knowing, seeing, attaining, realizing, penetrating. So you can see here, in other words, we are talking about wisdom. And these things are unknown to us, unseen by us, unattained, unrealized, unpenetrated. We did not know these things before, right? So this is where we have another important thing to know, right? You know, sometimes people might come to us and say, can you tell me in 1 minute what Buddhism is? Wow, that's tough, you know, right? Of course you can say 1 minute, you can, if you want to, something like, okay, the Buddha teaches there is suffering and how to overcome it. Right? The person may or may not understand. But the Buddha is very good in this, you know. The Buddha does get this kind of challenge, you know. For example, there was this old man who came to see the Buddha, and he told the Buddha, he says, you know, I'm very old, so don't give me any deep teaching, just tell me a very simple teaching that I can practice. Then the Buddha gave him one sentence, very beautiful sentence, which is useful even today. The Buddha tells the old man, okay, you reflect on this line. Although my body is sick, my mind will not be sick. That's really wonderful, isn't it? Anyone can use this sentence. You go visit old friends who are sick, you don't tell the long story, they probably will get more sad and die faster, you know. So what you tell them, you don't worry, the Buddha has a message for you. Don't say it's your message for the Buddha. Reflect in this way. Although my body is sick, my mind is not sick. It's very deep teaching, you know. This talks about the 2 kinds of pain. The body by nature, because it is physical, it will feel pain. You can't escape it. But the mind need not feel pain. The mind can rise above the pain. The mind can even lessen the pain. When the scientists in the West hear this, they say, oh, this is interesting. Is Buddhism saying that therefore the mind can actually control pain, lessen pain, even shut off pain? They're very curious about this. And now they're studying all this, right? I would say yes, it's possible, because when you're in deep meditation, you don't feel pain anymore. So this is of great value to this scientist, because they want to deal with pain, overcome pain. So here in one short sentence, you see the Buddha gave us a very deep teaching. So here, what is this short teaching? It's the Four Noble Truths, right? So in other words, the purpose of the Buddhist practice is to realize, or if you like, to really see the Four Noble Truths. 3.3. This is suffering, or this is dukkha, if you like. This also is the unknown, unseen, unattained, unrealized, unpenetrated, for the sake of whose knowing, seeing, attaining, realizing, and penetrating, that the holy life is lived under the blessed one. This is the arising of suffering. So saying that this is what we should be knowing. And this is the ending of suffering. And this is the path leading to the ending of suffering. So these are the Four Noble Truths. We hear this again and again, but we need to spend time reflecting on this. We can look at this as a problem-solving method. First, I accept the problem, identify the problem, define the problem. That's first noble truth. Number 2, every problem has causes and conditions. No problem is caused by one cause, no such thing. We can try and blame somebody. Very often we like to do that. But reality is, no one person is culpable. In Singapore, the one who's paid most is culpable. The one who's paid most is the one who will be blamed. But the reality is no such thing. But whenever something bad happens, there are many conditions that bring it about. And this is a very valuable lesson for us. Whenever we have a problem with somebody, always remember, it is not one cause. There are many, many conditions that bring about the problem. So we've got to find out what are the conditions. Right? That is the second noble truth. Conditionality. We'll be talking more about conditionality in our. Number 3, because there are conditions, if you understand the condition, remove the condition, the problem is solved. That is number 3, ending of suffering. Then the 4th one is you actually do it. Go out to do it, practice it, right? Now in the older texts you find 3 and 4 are reversed. Truth number 3 is the path, the method, and the last one is the goal. Right? That's another way of looking at it. Both can be used. So this, the sutta ends there, right? Purpose of practicing Buddhism. So spend some time reflecting on this.